Hi there, welcome to my cooking class. Today I wanted to have another comfort meal. I want to make everyone happy because there is a lot of snow out there and this is ridiculous. I know it's the end of October, but really I wasn't ready for this. Anyway, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using our crispy and crunchy coating. This is a gluten-free breader. So those of you who are gluten intolerant, this is going to be your best friend. What I love about it is it's actually using rice bread and it's flavored. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, yet it's so darn delicious. So if you've had to, walk away from having anything breaded because it was maybe panko or maybe flour coating, this is going to be your best friend. So what am I making exactly with this? Balsamic chicken fingers. The recipe is on the website and I love it. It's one of my family's favorites. And I was at Costco the other day. You know, I'm always saying about shop when the things are on sale. When I popped into Costco, I always go by the meat section. It's one of the things I do buy there. And it was $6 off a family pack. So the deal is go look for the least amount of dollars that's on the package and then get $6 off it. That's how you maximize it. So it wasn't like a percentage off, it was actually $6 off. So needless to say, it's the reason why I've done up my chicken. Now, what I'm going to do is I did chicken breasts and I wanted to talk, fun food facts about chicken fingers. But more importantly, before we get started, I want to show you how I prepare my chicken. Now, chicken fingers, just so you know, usually originated back in 1974, they believe. I mean, there's quite a stiff competition about this, who actually invented chicken fingers, because chicken don't have fingers. But how did this happen? Well, the pectoralis minor, or the inside of the large breast, you'll notice that there's a little fillet. Do you see how it's almost hanging here? And part of this fillet has this tendon. And I was actually doing a live event the other day, and one of the ladies said, "Oh my gosh, show me how you got this tendon out." Because she says, "I always chop it out and I lose a lot of meat." So I have got my cutting board here, and what I've done is I've basically detached the little fillet part of the breast, and grabbing my finger there, I'm just going to basically twist my knife around and slide this off. There you go. It's really not wasting a lot of meat whatsoever. And little tip here, if your garbage man doesn't come very often, keep your chicken and whatever in a bag so it doesn't get stinky in the house. We're garbage day here is another week and a half away, which is like crazy. So anyway, so that's how I prepared my chicken. So that's part one. So go ahead, as you can see here, I didn't think you guys needed to see me cut it all up. But basically what I've done is I've got strips of chicken here, and they're fairly thin slices, because what we're going to do is we're going to season them, we're going to coat them, and we're going to put them on a baking sheet so I can sort of super freeze them or flash freeze them. And once they're sort of frozen, I'm going to throw them in a large freezer bag, labeling it, getting out as much air as I can. I'm going to, of course, have some fresh tonight, but I'm going to have a whole large bag of balsamic chicken fingers. Doesn't that sound absolutely amazing? So that's part one. Give me a second. I'm just going to go wash my hands. What are we going to season our chicken with? Well, I did call it balsamic chicken fingers. So I want to showcase our balsamic vinaigrette dressing mix. Now, the recipe on the back actually says a balsamic vinaigrette dressing, a creamy balsamic dressing, balsamic green beans and tomatoes, but I'm making balsamic chicken today. So we've got in our 4-cup prep bowl, and I just realized I need a measuring spoon. Here's our 4-in-1 spoon. We are going to have, I basically put olive oil in our bowl, and I'm going to add 1 full tablespoon of our balsamic vinaigrette. This has got great flavors in here. Of course, garlic, salt. There is a little bit of sugar in here. Herbs, spices, lemon, and chives. It does smell very delicious. If you ever run out of herb and garlic and you wanted to make garlic bread with butter, just mix this with a little bit of butter and spread it on French bread. Yeah, that's a comfort meal. Would be really good over a soup because we're also going to be making something with marinara. I'm going to talk about a marinara vegetable soup as well. Don't let me forget. Okay, so we've basically got our balsamic vinaigrette. We're then going to, let's see if I can find a spoon. We're going to have to add some balsamic vinegar. Not all vinegars are the same, so make sure you read your labels. There's lots of imposters out there, and don't use the really, really expensive balsamic. That's like syrup, and that's meant to just like put over top of strawberries. So with our balsamic, as I said, I put a tablespoon of balsamic vinaigrette seasoning mix. I'm doubling the recipe just so you know, because as you can tell, I've got the family sized chicken going over there, so I might as well just make it all at the same time. So if you just need a small amount, just watch the recipe. We're going to give this a little bit of a stir, and I like just letting it set up a little bit. So let me tell you a little bit more about this chicken finger story. So chicken fingers, they believe, and like I said, there's a huge controversy. It maybe came from Manchester, New Hampshire, back in 1974. It became really, really popular in all the places. I mean, think about it. When you go to a fast food place, McDonald's or any of those kind of places, don't go there because you can make better ones at home. I'm going to show you. But they became wildly popular in about between 1980 and 1990. You could find chicken fingers everywhere. So chicken fingers are really, like I said, they're the chicken breast. Traditionally, they were just made with the fillet part, but now people just chop up a full breast. And like I said, if you can find your chicken on sale, go for it. So, and it's normally served with a marinara sauce. So I am going to be making a marinara sauce a little bit later on. So as you can see, I've got my panko, or it's not panko, this is our gluten-free crispy and crunchy coating mix. And I've got my dressing. I've let it sit for a little bit so it's got some moisture and got some flavor. And the best thing about this is you're going to get your baking sheet. Make sure you have the liner on it, chicken in the right position. And the trick to doing this so your fingers don't look like mitts by the time you're all done is for you to grab your chicken, dip it with this hand, drop it in to your panko or your crispy crunchy, shake it and lay it, okay? So as long as you're using opposite hands, you're not going to be having your fingers all wet and gooey. Now, when you're dropping it onto your tray, make sure that you leave a little bit of space because we're going to throw this in the freezer and let it freeze. And once it's sort of frozen, we'll be able to pick it off the baking sheet and put it in our freezer bags. So I've got my chicken fingers on my baking sheet with the liner, and now it's just as simple as throwing it in your freezer. If you've got a large freezer, great. If you want to put a covering over top, you can. And what I usually do is just cello and throw it in the freezer, and just, even if it sets for just a couple hours, set a timer, and then we're going to put it into a freezer bag. Next part of this is making our marinara. So stay tuned. I'm just gonna run this out to the freezer. So I've packed these into the freezer, and as you can see, they are solid now. So this is the perfect opportunity for you to bag them. I've got labeled bags here, gluten-free balsamic chicken, and we're just going to drop them in here. And the cool thing about this is because they're already frozen, they're not going to stick together, unlike when you buy fresh chicken, and you know when you throw it in the freezer, it's just one big lump and clump. This is why we sort of fast freeze it individually on these baking sheets with our liners, and so easy to clean, right? So we've got this. Get up as much air as you can. I actually use the water method. If you don't know what the water method is, it's get a big tub of water and carefully drop this in and then seal it. So I've got my balsamic fingers in the bag. I've just kept a little corner open, and I'm just going to push it down into the water, making sure that I'm not getting water into the top. And as I'm squeezing it in, the air is being displaced, and I'm sealing it up as I'm going along. And there you go. You've got your balsamic. So it's time to make our marinara. So you can see I've got my multi-purpose pot on the stove here. I'm just getting it heated up. And let me tell you a little bit about our marinara. Now this is a dry mix, as you can see, like most of our Epicure products. So just a very large spice jar. You can make many things with this. In fact, I'm going to tell you how to make soup with this in a little minute. But let's not get too sidetracked. First, let's get the sauce going. So this jar will actually flavor 24 cups of marinara seasoning. Now the name marinara actually comes from an Italian name which stood for sailors. This was the meal that sailors were prepared quite often because of course it's very staple, unlike meats, which of course would go bad. So you're out at sea, what do you have? Marinara and pasta. Okay, so yes, that's what they served. So the directions for making this are right in the jar, and what it does say, it's a robust garlic and herby mix used for sauces like pasta, lasagna, chicken, parmesan, and of course homemade pizza. So we're going to put in, because I've shrunk this recipe quite a bit, I'm just going to put 1 tablespoon, and this is with our 4-in-1 spoon. Okay, so 1 tablespoon at the end. You can see, because this was filled to the brim, you're going to get a lot of food out of this little jar. Like, if you want to make an amazing vegetable soup, all you need to do is make your marinara, follow the recipe on the jar, because you're going to have extra, right? And then you're going to add 4 cups of broth. You can do nourish broth or vegetable broth. And then you're going to add about 2 cups of veggies, whatever you have in the fridge, and you're just going to cook that up and let it simmer. That is going to be your now homemade tomato vegetable soup. And the flavor's delicious. Our marinara has been cooking now, and it's got some great flavor in here. So now all we need to do is, because it's quite runny, I would recommend that you have a little cup like this. If not, you could put it right on your plate. I'm going to be serving this tonight with a nice crisp salad. I've got some peppers in here, and I cooked the chicken today in an air fryer, and that's because I'm here by myself. There's no sense in actually cooking it in the stove, which I would put on a pan with the liner on here. You could use the cooling rack on top of there so you get good air circulation, but why not the air fryer? So in the air fryer, I put this at 400 degrees for about 7 to 8 minutes. About halfway through, flip them over, use your grip and grabs and get these out. Set them on side. Perfect portions would be about the size of 3 of these strips. And there you go. You have a lovely, healthy, balanced meal that's absolutely delicious. Like I said, this is one of my children's favorite recipes when they were younger boys. They still love it, and it's a really nice comfort meal. Fabulous because it's so popular, and who doesn't like chicken fingers? So thanks for watching. Come back again for another installment of my cooking class. Take care, everyone.